Let's discuss how a potential Ghost of Tsushima 2 could be the perfect samurai video game. So, while I was recording this video, a Ghost of Tsushima 2 has not yet been confirmed, but it is almost certainly coming. I say this based on the historical setting of the game, that being the first Mongol invasion of 1274. Notice I said first invasion. That's right, there was in fact a second invasion that was launched in 1281, 7 years after the first. This makes a sequel to the first game almost guaranteed. But what could make a sequel into the perfect samurai video game? Well, first, let me address some of the ways that the first game was, lacking, because even though the game was praised for its storyline and of course its visuals, which is honestly gorgeous, there were things that fans for the most part, and I could agree, could have been better. The biggest letdown being the side quests. The side quests have been mostly described as an afterthought. Personally, I rather enjoyed some of them, but even though I'm massively biased in favor of this game, I also have to agree. Talk to a generic NPC. Hey, did you hear about this rumor? Go check it out. Defeat these generic enemies and end of quest. And apart from a few unique bosses such as the main bad guy Khotan Khan, they are pretty much a copy-paste of each other. Same animations, same character model. Boring. And they have a shield, which almost all of the Mongol bosses do. You're for the most part forced to fight in water stance, giving you the exact same experience over and over. So, how would I solve these problems? Well, first, I think we need to talk more about a variety of NPCs with more dialogue options. It always struck me as a little bit weird that most of them just stare at you blankly. You're a freaking samurai, savior of the people for some, and hated by others. Kind of expect the NPCs to behave in a particular way, and I would love for there to be a way to engage with them by choosing your response. Not every interaction has to be important either. How great would an interaction with a Ronin be if there was a potential for a duel based off of, what you said to each other? There should also be more random occurrences in the game, kind of like how some of the Bethesda games do them. And imagine more unique ways to enter into quests that are also more immersive. Let me give you an example. This is supposed to be an invasion, right? Well, what about wandering into town just to have its citizens running through and out of town as the Mongols ride in, and they cut them down as they do? Do you try to save them? Maybe you use their deaths as a distraction as you jump roof to roof looking for the commander. Choice could be yours. As for the enemies, I actually feel like this is an easy fix, one that the Iki Island expansion was already doing with its shamans. They added a whole different feel to the combat, and while I do feel like they were maybe used a bit too much, they did shake things up a bit. But these are the Mongols. We should also have horse archers and other mounted soldiers to go against. Not only would this add to the diversity of enemies, it would also force you to find creative ways of fighting them. The bosses are another easy fix. Create some variety in the models. Even changing the color of the armor or taking off the helmet and creating a unique face model would go a long way. Next, vary the weaponry of them. I'd love to have a Mongol general that tries to run you down on horseback, or one that uses a flanged mace to crush you. Or how about a general that calls in other soldiers to fight you while he fights you? After all, that honorable duel nonsense is a samurai ideal, and the Mongols wouldn't be held down to that same code of ethics. That's just some of the ways that the weaknesses of the first game could be fixed. But what about adding new things? A truly great sequel wouldn't just improve about what was in the original game, but also add new reasons to play the next game. I feel that one of those reasons could be customization. I love customizing my characters in games personally, and even go out of my way for that next cool weapon and piece of armor. In Ghost of Tsushima, your armor allows you to customize 3 things: your hat/helmet, your face mask, and then the rest of your body. Why not instead break it down into 5 pieces? head, face, arms, torso, legs. This would allow you to mix and match to your heart's desire and make your own look. Plus, give plenty of excuse for the game developers to write more side quests. Speaking of which, on your next playthrough, really pay attention to all the different outfits and armor that your character just doesn't have. I can't imagine it would take much for the game makers to take those assets and move them over into the next game. The last thing I'll mention is pretty big: weaponry. Imagine this game, but now your character can now pick up Mongol weapons. I mean, you can already wear Mongol armor, why not use their weapons too? To be honest, that kind of sounds like something the ghosts would do anyway. Or what about going on quest lines for unique weapons like the Naginata? That weapon is already in the base game, by the way. Remember the quest line involving the warrior monk Norio? That could be a very clever way to reintroduce his character too, including new weapons with their own fighting mechanics. I feel like this is a great way to extend the life of a game, as it includes different experiences and once again customization. Plus, remember earlier when I mentioned mounted Mongol warriors? Well, polearms like the Naginata were there to help counter cavalry. Just could be a whole new experience. If these were done, I feel a sequel would end up being the greatest samurai game out there. But what do you guys think? Am I right or way off base? Also, what's something that I didn't mention that you would like to see? Let me know in the comments section down below. I'm actually really curious to see what you put. See you next time.